question about using meditation or the fact that meditation, I think I've read or heard you say, it helps you be detached from outcomes. So I just wanted you to speak a little bit about how meditation works in that context, and how maybe we can use meditation to be at ease with maybe one outcome over another. And maybe, I don't know if you need context. I guess this is more in a corporate setting where there's things are moving around in terms of management, and there may be opportunities. How can you be at ease with maybe one outcome versus another, but at the same time wanting to maybe influence what that outcome is, but staying, I guess, detached in a way.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes, certainly. What's the mechanics of that? So I tend to use the words non-attached as opposed to detached, because there's no such thing as detached, really. We're all attached. Everything is attached to everything. Everything is in a state of union with everything. And if we're trying to detach, we're trying to disassociate. Again, it's all semantics, but it's important when we get into the subtlety of things. We're not interested in detaching. We're interested in being in relationship to that which appears to be before me, that which I'm experiencing. We don't want to detach ourselves, because that's not reality. We want to have a relationship with what it is that we're experiencing, and have the most progressive evolutionary relationship that delivers the most progressive and evolutionary outcome, that doesn't draw down on our vital energy, that doesn't keep us ruminating and preoccupying our mind with how to strategize controlling outcomes, all of these kinds of things. So I use the term non-attached, meaning non-attachment is, while I notice that I am engaged in this thing, having this experience or this relationship or these feelings, these desires, whatever it is, I'm choosing to recognize, and I'm cutting to the chase, and then we can elaborate on it more if you like. I choose to recognize that no outcome is going to reveal the source of happiness for me. Nothing outside of me is going to be any kind of lasting event that is going to provide me with a deep sense of knowing who I am, feeling calm, confident, and capable of meeting challenges and demands as they arise, and having that deep intuitive knowingness, the capability that's structured in that knowingness. No outcome that we invest all of our time and energy to try and cause to happen is going to elicit that experience. And yet, in the absence of that experience, that's what we're pinning on outcomes. That's what we're hoping. When this happens, I'm going to feel so much better, I'm going to feel so much safer, I'm going to feel so much more confident, I'm going to feel so much secure, all of these things. And it's an enormous amount of pressure that we place on the outcome of things, which ultimately we carry the weight of. Because invariably, barely anything turns out the way we think, we envisage. We have an idea of what we'd like to have happen, and then, it happens the way it happens. And the truth of happiness is that it's an internally referenced phenomenon, and it's not dependent on anything. What we are is happy by our very nature. We feel love for ourselves and life not because it's doing anything for us, rather, it's just because it is. Life is. I am. And therefore, I feel happy and I feel love. This is at the deepest layer of ourself, the highest expression of ourself. We are love. We are happiness. Remove all the obstacles, the trauma, the memory of all the unresolved things that have happened in our life. That's what we're left with. And in the absence of the capability to resolve what we are carrying, we feel that there is some kind of deficit in our personality, in our sense of self, because we're not accessing the fullness of ourself. A part of ourself is obstructed by the energy of the past, the trauma and the pain and the sadness and whatever it is that we're carrying. It obstructs the clear experience of the fullness of our being. And so what we we try to access it. And when we go in to access it, it's like sometimes putting our hands on an electric fence. Zzz, ah. We go in, zzz, ah, oh, I'm not going in there again. All right, what can I preoccupy with myself, with outside of myself, to provide me with some validation, some feedback about who I feel I know myself to be, but I don't know for sure because I've got all this conflicting stuff. But whereas if I pursue, oh, look at that. I've got like fireworks going off in my Zoom window. Whereas if I pursue something outside of myself that delivers a kind of experience that would be satisfactory to me in validating who I feel I am, then surely this is something worthy of pursuing. So let's get to it. We get to it. We go about trying to achieve things in the name of validating ourselves. Verifying that what I am is what I feel I am. But the pursuit of this goes against what nature is desiring for you. When we're in pursuit of validation outside of ourselves, to verify our sense of self, which never actually delivers a sense of self, by the way. It may be a fleeting, yay, I got to the top of the mountain. Oh, I still feel that thing. I got the award, I got the accolades, I got the job, I got the pay rise, I got the relationship, I got the car, I got the house. You get it all. And you realize you've still got nothing that you really want. And it's just because it's not the way it works. We can't be validated by anything external. The mechanics of validation, knowing ourselves, is an internally referenced phenomenon. And the only way that we can gain access to that experience is by confronting whatever it is that's obstructing in it. And being willing to sit in the discomfort of whatever it is that is in conflict with what we know to be true, but we doubt because there's something very, very compelling and convincing happening inside of us that says it's not true. And sometimes that tussle just gets exhausting. But this is the work. If we want to wake up, if we want to know ourselves, and if we want to have the experience of innocent non-attachment. So how do we become non-attached? By noticing the experience that we're having. Oh, there's an attachment there. I'm a little bit panicky at the thought of this thing not happening. Stakes are pretty high on this. Why? What have you pinned on it? What does the acquisition of this thing, what role does it play in the verification of you? If you can get to a point where you can notice that this is what's happening, this is what you're doing, then you're walking over to the wall in your jail cell, you're taking the key off that's always been on the wall, you're walking to the gate and you're sticking your hand out, clink, taking the key off, you're putting it in your pocket, you're swinging the door open. That's what you're doing. You're getting yourself out of jail. When you notice that this is what you're doing. The big question is though, will you step out of the cell? Some people settle for, the door's open, I can go if I want. I'm just going to keep experimenting with this validation thing though. But the door's open. Does this ring a bell, anybody? So, and this is all fine, by the way, because it's all part of the process. And as we advance in sitting with the discomfort, making our nervous system our pet project, making how we feel, the attention around how we're feeling, without embellishing it or overcooking it, just innocently noticing it while we're getting on with things. And then gently, subtly adjusting behavior. We don't have to make these massive wholesale changes. We just incrementally make little adjustments. As we notice we're behaving in a particular way, investing in a particular set of ideas that we know are not true, and we have a choice in the moment, to just experiment with letting it go and seeing where it leads us. It's these incremental steps that enable you to conquer that massive mountain, what looks like a massive mountain. It's just day to day, bit by bit. So noticing the attachment and exploring what it's like to just go, I'm just going to drop it. And I'm just going to let circumstance take its course. Or I feel really compelled to take this path, but it terrifies me. But I'm going to do it anyway. Caution to the wind. Here we go. And that becomes the engine of our awakening. It's how we wake up. There are two things that I'd like to share with you right now. The first is that if you would like to join us for these wisdom sessions, which all the videos are recorded at on a weekly basis, all you need to do is register for our newsletter below. And the second thing I want to share with you is that we offer a free 7-day transformation program that you can access at ritam.studio, which is a part of a much bigger set of teachings, discourses, courses and programs and retreats that are all available to our members. So if you're interested in taking this teaching to another level, then we welcome you over to Ritam Studio. Please join us.